until I had this serendipitous meeting with an author. I was already at this radio interview talking about music because, as you said, I've had more of a musical background. Something about this interview just resonated with both of us and clicked. And the following week, she was having a book launch and invited me along for that. And it was at the book launch that she said, "Would you like to be a part of my film? I think you could play me as my younger self." The universe certainly prepared me for this role as well. And I discovered within myself that I naturally gravitate more towards method acting or a little bit of Stanislavski acting. So I've gone on to study a bit more since then, but I really was fully in character for this role. If you believe in something within yourself, no matter what your external world says or what people say around you, if you don't have access and resources, just keep believing. I think even the actor Anthony Hopkins says that as well. Believe, 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 believe. And even when you don't believe, keep on believing. And I think as an artist, you have to have that type of stamina to be able to make it.
Hey everyone, I am Ajay Tambe, the host and producer of Creative Audio's Starting Podcast, and today I have with me a very special guest. Her name is Quinn, and she's from Australia. Important thing is, she is multi-talented. She is involved in a lot of different fields, including music, filmmaking, acting, writing, and she's doing a lot of stuff, including art. The important thing that we are doing this podcast is for her film Say My Name, which won a lot of awards. Her character won a lot of awards critically, won a lot of reviews, won a lot of hearts of critics also at the same time. So she is very talented. She is involved in a lot of different fields. So I got confused when I was reading her website and her bio that, hey, this is a lot of stuff. What should I focus on? So now she said, hey, thanks for letting me know. I'd like to focus on my filmmaking and acting journey, but I'm also going to focus on your singing journey because you started at age of 2, and that's really interesting. Your childhood journey, it's amazing what I saw on your website. And before we go on more, welcome to the show, Quinn.
Well, thank you so much, Ajay, for having me on your show. I appreciate you reaching out to me and inviting me to be a part of this. And thank you for the work you do for artists and interviewing us and giving us an opportunity and a platform to share our stories and what makes us us and how we're going with it all. So thank you.
We got connected. I guess I saw your recent photograph. You were in some film festival, I guess, in Sydney. Tell me a bit about that. What was that?
So just on the weekend gone, and actually just quickly, I'll apologize in advance. If you can hear some background noise, it's just the ocean waves. So hopefully it calms us during this.
Yeah,
interview.
You can show us the background if you want to.
Okay, maybe towards the end of our session I will.
Yeah.
No, on the weekend we had our celebration another awards ceremony for the film Say My Name. So that's my debut acting film. That has won, I think, 65 international awards thus far and a number of official selections. I think it's up to 80 or something crazy like that. So,
crazy.
Yes, we were celebrating at the awards gala at the Sydfest Film Festival. And we took home another award and got to celebrate on the red carpet, which was really nice, and certainly another nice acknowledgement of the hard work and dedication and artistry that went into this production.
Okay, great to know that, Quinn. Importantly, now I'd like to know, you do a lot of stuff. Okay, so it's not one thing that you do on regular basis, and now you're professional, I guess, from 15 years in this, professionally doing more than 15 years, I guess. What's your schedule in 2024? What's your schedule looks like in 2024? Like, what is it filled up with now?
So since Say My Name, I have worked on a few film scores with some other short films. I'm also working on developing some of my own productions. So I like having creative influence in my work as well from the beginning. I like being part of the early I see filmmaking and even music production as a form of, it's like a pregnancy for me. And I like being part of that gestation period and then developing it and then birthing it into the world. And it's crazy and intense and it's awful and it's fun. And but then you deliver something into the world and release it into the wild and just trust that it goes okay.
Wow, I get it. I get it. The point of pregnancy, I immediately got it. So you kind of build that inside you and keep it inside you for a very long time, and then you put it out, and then you leave it to people, and you decide that's great. That's great to know. And I guess you're fully packed with your schedule after the release of Say My Name, I guess.
Well, the film hasn't been formally released yet. It's still doing the rounds in international festivals. So that's still keeping me busy a little bit with that, but also working on my own productions and scoring some other productions as well, and being a producer. So this has sort of evolved into a number of multiple avenues for me. I also was off and out of it for a little while last year. I had to have some surgery. So I've been spending a little bit of time in recovery and working on that, but I'm almost back to full speed now. And I look forward to seeing where that goes now that my health is in a better position now. So, but certainly love having that creative influence in productions. And I look forward to seeing where the rest of it goes. But thus far, I'm just grateful for every bit of opportunity and being able to use years of hard work in other careers like nursing and even teaching for a while, and channeling that into what I really am passionate about, which is film and music.
Wow. So first of all, I guess,
I was going to say, so yes, my schedule is busy at the moment, but because I am a multi-creative or multi-artist or whatever, multi-dimensional, which I think the industry at large are probably moving in that direction anyway now. It's good to be multi-dimensional. And I certainly think it also makes it more fun, and you appreciate what everyone does a lot more too when you know what goes into it all behind the scenes. Like, especially from my perspective as an actor, the audiences see the actor, but they don't always see the networks of people behind the scenes that help bring the actor to the camera. And it really is a team collaboration, and every credit counts. And for me, that's really what I love about filmmaking and even music production, when you work with amazing groups of people coming together for a common cause and feeling that powerful energy together in unison. There's something really magic in that. So, I look forward to seeing what else comes out of this. But thus far, it's been lots of fun, and grateful for every minute of it.
Great to know that, Quinn. First of all, hearing about your surgeries, I guess that's kind of a setback when you have good things going on. So I'm really glad that you are now, I guess, maximum 90 to 98% recovered, and you're working back. That's great to know. When you have a lot of energy and a lot of talent, this kind of stuff related to health is something that keeps you back, something that puts you, oh God, I wish I was good. And that period, I guess that's gone for you now, and you are completely recovered. You told me a lot of stuff, and I can relate with it. It's kind of team energy to get anything out in this world, in the world of filmmaking. So before we jump on the success of Say My Name and the success of your character Mel, and how the journey with the radio interview, Sydney radio interview, I'd like to know more on that. But before we go on more about you and your acting career, I'd like to know your childhood days. How was Quinn as a kid, as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old? What was her childhood?
Well, yes, I was born down in Melbourne. So for my international friends, that is in Victoria, which is the lower part of Australia, not as far down as Tasmania, but so part of the mainland. I was born in Melbourne, and when I was 2, we moved up to a tiny town in the middle of nowhere, with a population of less than 1,000 people. And I grew up there, so very isolated, and certainly not conducive to developing or having access easily to the arts or film and music or anything. Really.
It's like
trees and kangaroos.
It's kind of middle class, or something we can say middle class, very just focusing on the work and bread and butter. That's it. That's the thing that you had.
Yeah, so but it has its advantages in other ways. And
Yeah, go
so
on. Tell me.
so I think in some ways it was a pro and a con for me growing up. It
Hmm.
meant that some things that I wanted to do when I was young, I didn't get to do because I didn't have access.
I
And
see.
so part of my moving forward with my career is also to be a voice for people from regional communities as well, and showing that we need more access and more resources and the culture to celebrate the arts, particularly in Australia, where I feel we still have a bit of work to do in celebrating our artists. I think a lot of our international counterparts, like the USA and Europe, tend to nurture and cultivate arts better. Australia is coming along, but we have some work to do, and especially in regional communities. There just really isn't a lot of infrastructure there or a lot of funding.
Okay.
So that's something that I would like to
Use
continue to be
focus.
a voice on, yes.
Yeah.
However, spending a lot of time climbing trees was good for my imagination. And so I used to build a lot of worlds in my mind and
Yeah.
characters and spend time on developing myself as a person and getting to know who
Yeah.
I was. And I think as an actor, as a human, it's important to know thyself. And I think to be a good actor or an artist, it's important to know who you are first. And I think
Yeah.
in some ways, not having the distractions of lots of things happening around me enabled me to
Mhm.
develop who I was pretty early.
Yeah, I guess your adversity, what we can say, and maybe the phase of you climbing on trees, I guess you were with your friends or siblings maybe, but with the books that you were spending time with the films, I guess I saw you enacting films. So which were the film that you used to enact, the dramas, who you used to have with yourself to perform? What was that phase?
So I think I've always been a bit of a performer. I do have an inner show pony, and I think I
Okay.
get that from my probably from my dad. It's the Irish side,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so I come from a bit of a line of public speakers and performers and singers and things. So that's certainly in the blood. And
Yeah.
so I used to perform to the cows and the horses and the trees and things for audiences, but
Wow,
I
that's
think they
good.
were appreciative.
Yeah. That's the reason that you are this good. I guess at the same time, your singing career started, right?
Yes.
Where you
So
you were performing.
yes, I was singing very early. I was actually I had a nickname very early in life. I was called
Hmm.
Loud Lungs from a baby because when I was
Wow.
in hospital, I used to cry at 10 times the volume of a normal baby. And it's
Whoa.
because we've discovered years later, I actually have very thick vocal cords. So when I
Mm-hmm.
sing or cry, it's quite loud. And since then, I've
Wow.
gone on to study classical voice. And so
Uh-huh.
my voice was classified as a dramatic coloratura soprano voice. And that explains the loud cries as a baby.
Yeah.
So,
I get it.
but I used to sing very early on, and then the acting was part of that too. And going back to that just quickly, I used to spend a lot of time with my grandmother on their farm. We used to watch a lot of period dramas, so like Jane Austen and some other Australian classics like All the Rivers Run and
Mm-hmm.
many others like that that I used to memorize all the lines for and know all the parts for, and I'd read all the books for. And we'd walk around the farm together and just reenact the different parts. And sometimes we did
Wow.
the gender bending roles too. I would be Mr. Darcy or grandma would be Mr. Darcy, and but it showed that I had a memory for lines then.
Mm.
I didn't develop that in classes at that point. It just kind of went into the musical side of things, but that has
Yeah,
still helped facilitate my acting now. So
I
having
guess.
that, it's provided that foundation for all of it. And I think it's all interrelated and it makes me more informed as an artist as
Yeah.
well.
It's more of which is helpful for you now, because I guess that's how you started. You enjoy this. It's not something like you do as a profession. you started enjoying it. Even the films, the enactment, and I guess not having in the access made you more involved, because that was the only source of entertainment, or just running away from your reality. At the same time, this is something that made you, okay, I want to be part of this world, and I love the world that I watch in the TVs and films and books, and that's my imagination. I guess that's how you enjoy the process of making songs, creating a world inside your song. Also, the way you act now, I guess it's the escapism, but more often that's where you feel relaxed. Also, that's where you feel more, okay, this is my world, this is me more, and I'd like to be here for a very long time. I guess that's what got you into a lot of things. That's
You're,
kept
you're
you
right.
into. Yeah.
You're right about that. It was a type of escapism,
Yeah.
but in that escapism, I also found myself and found parts of myself that perhaps I wouldn't have, as I said, had I grown
Yeah.
up around lots of other opportunities. So I think anything in life, it's also about how you use it and what you do with it. It can either beat you down and keep you stuck, or you find a way to make it work for you. It doesn't mean that it's fair or easy. And there comes times when it's very frustrating, and
Yeah.
when you don't have the resources and the people around you to allow you to move forward in the way that you want to. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. And I do think that fundamentally, if you believe in yourself enough and you do it for the right reasons, where you actually love what you do, as you said,
Yeah.
it's coming in from a place of enjoyment. And for me, it's a soulful thing,
Mm.
rather than I'm coming in and just wanting to be an actor for a work
Yeah.
sense. In
Yeah.
saying that, money is helpful.
Yeah. No, it is, but the start of staying
Yeah.
and being there whenever you think, when you said that even the resources were not there, but you were there, you were enjoying, and I guess that keeps you going, keeps you going for a very long time. And yeah, money is important, because I guess that's what keeps you running in a good way, where you are not starving, where you are focusing on how I can make it more beautiful or more creative, or focus on more curves and craft more.
Mm.
So I guess that's where the money helps you to relax on the financial side. Thank you so much on that. We'll before we jump on that film. When did you started acting, or was it all singing? Because when I read about you, it says more about singing. You winning competitions, you start participating in a lot of competition, your teachers are helping you out to become a better singer, and that's your life. So when this is happening, acting never pops up in your head, because this is kind of star thing happening with you. When you start winning, you focus on how you can be better and win more. So I guess singing was the thing. So how this acting thing came into, when it came into.
So, as I mentioned, I always had a thing for acting,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I love film, and I used to be a little bit of a gamer, as in a PC gamer when I was young. I was a bit of a nerd. Still am,
Oh,
seriously. um, and I used to play this game that was a film studio game, and it used to allow you to write film scripts, and you could film your own movies within this game, and you'd win awards, and it even allowed you to film, sex scenes. And as a kid, that was a great thing when you're learning about life. Look what I can put in my movie. So, um, yeah. So for me, I always had this thing about films and movies and acting and drama but just it wasn't realized until I had this serendipitous meeting with an author. I was
Mhm.
already at this radio interview talking about music because, as you said, I've had more of a musical background.
Yeah.
And something about this interview just resonated with both of us and clicked.
Mhm.
And the following week, she was having a book launch and invited me along for that. And it was at the book launch that she said, "Would you like to be a part of my film? I think you could play me as my younger self." And I said,
Oh.
I would be honored. And the film's also about issues that I'm passionate about as well. So I
Yeah.
jumped at the opportunity as an artist, wanting to get into acting my whole life. Finally, a bit of an
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And then two, it's also representing things that I'm passionate about. So it's just amazing how it,
It was like, yeah, it's
well,
kind of
yeah.
what you're looking for.
Mm,
Yep.
yeah.
What I this to everyone. She was talking about her film "See My Name," which became a big hit. her character Mel. So this was a story where the author who was talking about on the radio interview, Sydney radio interview, that's where the film came into place. So you're saying before that you never acted. There was no acting involved.
No, I'd done a small little student project at film
Mm-hmm.
school. So I did a bit of
Okay.
film school. I've done a bit of filmmaking prior to this.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But the acting, I'd never really done proper
It
acting
was
at
not
all.
like the full-time thing for you, or not where
No,
you okay, you never
I was
invested any kind of energy.
I was
Good.
just thrown into it, and there I was on screen in my first lead role, and
Wow.
yeah, but I was lucky to be working with amazing humans, and I think the universe certainly prepared me for this role as well. And
Yeah.
I discovered within myself that I think I naturally gravitate more towards method acting or what a little bit of
Yeah.
Stanislavski acting. So I've gone on to
Yeah.
study a bit more since then. But I really was fully in character for
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
So
I
I
guess.
discovered something in myself that I think the little dream within me when I was young, there's something there, and I was
There's
right to
something.
keep
Yeah.
believing. So
Yeah.
that's also a bit of advice to listeners as well. If you believe in something within yourself, no matter what your external world says or what people say around you, if you don't have
Yeah.
access to resources, just keep believing. I think even the actor Anthony Hopkins says that as well. Believe, 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 and even when you don't believe, keep on believing. And I think as an
Wow.
artist, you have to have that type of stamina to be able to make it,
Yeah.
whatever that means for any of us. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just got to keep going and showing up and keep believing within yourself.
True, true, true. Now, this was the thing of you getting a part. So, something where you had a small, I guess, 10 to 20% inside involved in filmmaking, but you were major into music. So, once the director approached, now we focus on the film, Say My Name, where you where you were playing the character Mel. So, what was it? How you started prepping for this film? When the author approached it, she was looking for her younger self. How you planted this whole thing, how you structured this out, what was the prep? Because you are someone who goes into deep and extract a lot of things, and then you go craft wise, okay, so with your singing also. So how you prepared for your character? What was the preparation?
So once I attended this book launch, she gave me a copy of her book and I spent some time reading it. And as I'm a composer and musician as well, I actually started writing music. I wrote a piece of music for every chapter in the book as to what my musical interpretation of it was. And then
Okay.
she and I actually went out to a beautiful spot on the south coast of Sydney, and we talked about the film and what the vision was in the film and what we wanted in the film. And we talked a bit about her younger life, and I just basically tapped into her spirit really and herself, and just I think through sharing some powerful conversation, I was
Yeah.
able to get into the character through that. And I also then went on to spend some time in hostels where I
What are you
actually,
saying?
so
Like
I,
literally in the hostels?
yeah, so I stayed in some hostels and had some crazy experiences in my times there as well. And that also helped me get into the character of someone who was homeless and struggling and not
Yeah.
having a lot of money. Um, I met some amazing people through that journey as well. But I think combined, it certainly helped me to stay in that energetic place. I also I practice meditation, and
Yeah.
so for me, when I am working in music or in acting, I get myself into a meditative state, and
Yeah.
then allow the state of flow
Mhm.
to help me access the character in a way that feels much more organic rather than just reading the words off a page and going off a script like that, which isn't in keeping with, say, classical acting or Shakespearean acting. It's a very different approach. And I
Yeah.
think different characters and different films and different productions would need probably a different approach, or at least a
Yeah. Yeah.
combination. But certainly for this film, I think I just let my intuition guide me, and it just flowed naturally. And I think that's why the character comes across, I believe, quite naturally and it's certainly
Yeah,
not me that I
so
see. I don't even recognize that
that's
creature that we created.
it's not you.
So
It's not you. And
no.
that's the one thing I saw when I opened your IMDb. Like, wow, when I see that poster, when I see you in that one frame, the video is not even played. It's just you and your eyes and your hair and the aura that you had. It shows, okay, this looks something else, that this is something that we need to watch. That was it. And I guess whatever you did, you used how you prepare for your craft. Everyone has their own craft. So how you prepare, you went for, I guess you composed the music for the same film, Say My Name. So I guess you went with way you actually go for a song. You saw that story via your mind, and you came up with lines and paragraphs of music. You created songs, and then you did what author was also looking for. So she knew you were going in the right path. So I guess I guess she's the writer, the director. So once the director confirms that I guess she is going in a good way, let her go. Whatever she is doing, it's going good. So let her do what she is doing. And I guess that's the best thing that happens with the actor, because an actor is also trying to go more and evolve more with the process. That's a great thing. One thing I missed out on this point is, before we discuss more about Say My Name, tell the audience and the listeners about the film in short, and then tell us about the character Mel.
Well, so the film is based on a true story. It's based on a young teenager. She was about 15 years of age. She'd experienced horrendous child abuse at home, and mainly at the hands of her father, and actually was held at gunpoint by her father, and was basically had to run away, and ended up on the streets living under the Harbour Bridge in Sydney. And so the book Sleeping Under the Bridge is what it's based on, and it goes through her time on the streets and how she got there a little bit. In the film Say My Name, we couldn't quite capture the whole story, obviously, but we did our best, and we featured flashbacks as well as to her younger child self, so when she was only really little, to give you a bit of insight into what happened and how she ended up on the streets, broken, forgotten, and then living a really hard life for a while. So ultimately, though, the vision was about hope, and that's what the author wanted for this film, is to inspire other people that no matter what you've been through, you can still find a way through, and there's always hope, and don't give up on yourself. And we do have a couple of scenes that can be triggering. We have a scene that does go into suicidal references and things too, because that's where she got in her life. And so it's quite powerful, and thus far we have had quite a positive audience response. We've had, I think, applause at nearly every screening it's had thus far, which is quite profound. And certainly, like, for all of us involved in the film, that's an achievement. But as an actress with my first role, that means a lot to me to know that my work's it's having an impact.
It's set you on a level that is going to lead you to something else. Okay, this is the rarest thing. This is something that happened to very few people, who just go into something and then they lead to something new, which is on the next level. So for you playing Mel, the character, the way you describe the story, and indirectly you also told about Mel, because I guess it's the story of Mel, the main character throughout this. So she was staying under the bridge, going through a lot of assault, and I guess there's a lot of emotion involved, which is leading to suicidal thoughts, at the same time to hope. So these are contrast things that are mentioned in one single movie. So people who are looking to go down the path where they're looking to end their life can also find hope and then rise again. So I guess even when you're talking about it, I was feeling that. I can see that. I can see your character moving in front of my eyes when you're talking about it. So I guess the way you told it and the success that film had, it's unbelievable, it's unimaginable, the way you portrayed it. I mean, look at you, where you had no idea how should I go for it, but the way you are professional in the singing, the craft that you go, always to go and prep for any song, any music, even composing. That's one thing that helped you out. And I guess process is the one thing that matters, because I guess once you have the process with you, it's going to help you even you change the feel inside this artistic uh,
Mm.
environment. So I guess that's really great. And now we jump on to prep process of how complex, like tell me how many days first of all you prepped before even going for the shoot or the first take.
So there was a little gap between me spending some time with the author and
Mhm.
us actually filming.
Okay.
Our director of photography was on a very strict timeline, so we had
Mhm.
to really work in with his schedule. So,
Okay.
but it was very pressured. There wasn't really, I can't remember how much time between us meeting, but as for preparation time, there wasn't a lot.
Mhm.
I did help with some of the producing for the film as well, and helped get some cast members on board, and so my head was in admin space for a little while first, but once we were on set, I just something switched in me
Switch.
and I went straight into character, and like to the point where I was feeling the emotions of the character during the filming process. And people on the street were even treating me differently because I was so
Yes.
entrenched in the character.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I actually legitimately had people on the street bumping into me. This was in between one of the scenes when we were moving locations. I
Yeah.
had some girls actually come up to me and say, "Ew, get a shower." And I mean, I'm an actor. Like
Wow.
I was in character,
You're
and the
winning.
and the director looked at me and she's like, "Good method acting," because like we weren't even acting then; we were just walking to location. But
Wow.
and I walked into a hotel at one stage just to go to the bathroom. And same thing, the reaction I got in there was confronting. So that was a humbling experience and a
Yeah.
profound one for me, because it just goes to show you how differently we treat people based on how they look. And
Yeah.
like, so I hope that somehow this also is influential in that. And it certainly has been for me personally.
Yeah.
I'm not used to people treating me like that, feeling invisible. It's a horrendous feeling, and no one should ever be made to feel like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I guess it was in an odd way a bit of a gift to me as an actor and as a human to have that experience as well.
Yeah.
And I certainly hope to use that knowledge for good moving forward in some other roles that I'll do. But
Yeah.
yeah, the whole experience certainly was incredible, and but I am glad it's done, and I'm glad to be out of character. It did take me a while to say goodbye to the character, though. I had
Oh.
to do a whole releasing of the character, and it
Yeah.
took a few weeks, maybe even a few months, to really relinquish
Whoa.
the
So,
energy
so
of that.
you're saying it took you a month to go for the shoot before for the first take, I guess, right? It took a month or so,
So time frame, it probably was less than a month.
less than a month. So I guess 21
Less,
days.
and it wasn't full character preparation in that time. A lot of it was administration, so location
Mhm.
scouting and a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
admin and
So I
cast.
guess it was something impromptu or something that you're getting while you're shooting, in that particular time period only. I guess, and once you guys, I guess, how many days it took to end the shoot, the whole shoot? One,
Uh,
two.
we only had 3 days to film. Um,
Whoa.
so it was pretty tight. And we also were working against the weather a little bit. It rained nearly the whole time we were filming. And I can say one thing, after sleeping legitimately under the Sydney Harbour Bridge, that bridge is very leaky, and I wouldn't recommend sleeping under there if you want a dry night. So, um, so yeah, I think there might be other places that would be drier than there, but you do get good views of the harbour, though.
Yeah, yeah. It's just for the look. It's just for the look that you get of the bridge. Don't sleep under the bridge.
Don't sleep there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I really loved. I guess 3 4 days you're saying, but the prep. I guess 15 20 days it took you to go and do the whole thing, but it took twice or thrice the period to get the character out of you. I guess, and that's really something that shows how good you are at what you do. But I guess it takes a lot of you to get that whole thing outside, because you work very hard in very short time, that it takes a part of you,
Mm.
and it has an impact on you that it is hard to get that out. you need to watch a lot of sitcoms, just to relax. I guess
Yes.
you have that mindset of, you maybe think a lot of on very small things, or get emotionally involved on very little things that may trouble you, on people, what they think or what they said, she said, maybe, because that's where you catch things very fast, but that stays with you. I guess that's the reason that you do meditate a lot, to make sure
Mm.
that you are physically good, emotionally good, your soul is proper when you're working. But I guess take care of your health, when you get into such characters, try to watch sitcoms a lot so you laugh out, burst out harder,
Mhm.
and will help
Yes.
you, to get out, because I guess this is something that comes with this risk of you having to go through and be through that trauma at the same time.
That's true. There's an Australian actress, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Um, she's incredible, and she speaks of this too. She actually goes to therapy after some of her characters because they tend to come home with her, and I
Yeah.
know what that feels like now. And yeah, it's crazy. I think and that's one thing I've learned actually coming into acting is it's not all glamorous at all. I think the red carpet events are glamorous and things, and that's fun, and it's a nice healing
Yeah.
process. I
Yeah.
think, especially if
Yeah.
you've done a traumatic role,
Yeah.
like phew, I made it. But
Oh, wow.
but the
Okay.
actual roles themselves sometimes are anything but glamorous. And I mean, being on set is work. There's a
Yeah.
lot that goes on behind the scenes that, lots of carrying crazy equipment and lots of
Yeah.
amazing humans doing incredible things that just don't get credited. So, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yes.
But yes, Nicole herself said therapy and
It
looking
takes,
after your
yeah,
spirit. And yeah, and I think a
is
lot of
important.
actors who especially do take more of that approach do practice
Mhm.
meditation. And for me, that helps me find my center again and
Yeah.
become grounded. So, and yes, lots of sitcoms and comedies and
Lots
and
of something
dancing
that, yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, dancing, maybe singing, maybe singing, but I guess it also requires your mood to be good, somewhere
Mhm.
you can actually, because I guess that's one thing also takes a lot inside you. This is something comes with, emotional drama, something which is really emotional, where you have to go inside you. Once you start doing some comedy films, you are going to enjoy more. Some kind of rom-com, you
I
can
love
get.
comedy.
Yeah.
I love comedy. Yeah, I'd love to moving forward work with some great comedy actors. I love
Yeah.
having that riff, and I love
Yeah.
double entendre where things have layers and multiple meanings,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, you can
That's
explore witticisms in all sorts of ways. So yeah, I love a good comedy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess it's coming on your way. It's coming on your way. After this huge success, you're going to get scripts, and people are going to approach you, so you can have that way where you choose the genre and go for the film. uh, now here's the thing. Winning, first of all, congratulations for winning all the awards. Congratulations that you're still winning. Like yesterday or 2 days back, you were at some festival. So winning a best actress in Milan and nomination in Athens for your role, Mel, must have been must have been something that, uh, something that gave you hope, or gave you, thank God I want something, because this process was something that took a lot of me. I guess this may help my soul to heal. This may help. Yeah, I did something and it was worth it. I did involve myself, I guess, 80, 90%, 100%, 120%. And I'm thankful to God that this is something that is worth investing all this time. So how has that, this whole, I guess, 6 months, what we can say, how many months you've been winning this whole thing, like
Oh, it's more than that now. I'm not sure when it actually started going in the
so
festivals.
yeah, yeah, I guess it's a lot to everyone. It's a lot of awards, a lot of festivals. So how has this whole process, this whole journey of Mel, and this whole film has impacted you now, before you were actor and now after this, like this, what has changed inside you now?
I think being able to walk in somebody else's shoes, even in film, is a privilege and an honor. And I
Mhm.
think for me as an actor, I still feel funny saying that word. I think for me, I prefer the term artist. It's more descriptive for me and my approach and methodology.
Yeah.
But I think it's a privilege and an honor. And I think it is a craft, and it's not something to be taken lightly, especially for some of these more dramatic roles or true stories, or when you are representing something that is important in society. It is a big thing to do, to step into someone else's shoes or
Yeah.
their life and their energy and things, and take on their story and be the storyteller for them on their behalf. It's profound, it's strange, it's mysterious, it's all sorts of things. It's wonderful. And I think it's certainly influenced me as a human to keep going in things that I believe in, with, just
Yeah.
compassion
Go ahead.
and kindness, and not treating people based on how they look, whether it's unattractive to us,
Uh,
whether it's skin color, whether it's sexuality, whatever it is. Even if
yeah.
it's someone who's really beautiful, you don't know what they've gone through behind the scenes. You never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And this has certainly shown me or reminded me as to that, and how important that is.
Good.
So I certainly feel it's impacted me on a human level in a
Yeah.
really
Human.
profound way. And my hope is that it impacts audiences and the people who know me as well in the best ways.
Yeah, yeah. I guess this movie also opened a lot of songs for you in coming time, because the way you are thinking now can lead you writing new songs, composing a new theme, or composing the whole process. You can this whole change can, because you are a professional singer before becoming an actress, and then trying into getting into, I guess this whole journey helped you indirectly in your singing career, because now you can come up with more song with more emotion, with more depth, and that can lead you to get a new album just by being in this period. So maybe because you as an artist are looking for experiences, so you can write something up, and I guess this movie has unlocked a lot of things inside you. So there, there may be an album coming now in
Yeah,
some days. We have no idea, but yeah, it's good to know.
that absolutely is right. And I think as artists, we are very influenced by the world around us,
Yeah.
and we all channel that in different ways and express that in different ways. But it's all important. And even if it's confronting art, which I
Yeah.
do say this film is in its own way. Um, I was lucky to be joined by my sister Laurie as well in the recording of one of the songs that I wrote for this film.
Mhm.
The title track, also called "Say My Name,"
Say my.
and yes, it's about visibility and being seen. And it's a song of, it's a cry, it's a battle cry, really, I guess, of you will see me, you will hear me, you will not, disregard me just because I've been homeless, because I've gone through abuse, whatever. And I leaned on some of my own experiences in that, but I've also been a nurse, and I've spent a lot of time with a lot of patients and people who've experienced severe trauma. And so I've heard a lot of stories over the years and was able to draw on that. And you're
Mm.
right. I hope, and I am working on some stuff now
Yeah.
to channel that further in my work too for future film. I particularly like writing for screen, probably the most, but also just for album work too. And yeah, I think it's
That's it. Yeah.
all just been an amazing, wild journey thus far.
So tell me, do you go for auditions? Like, if someone approaches you, how you prepare for an audition? What's your process of going for an audition, a tough audition? How you encounter it? What is the one thing that you tell yourself? How you prepare for an audition?
So it's I actually was thinking on this earlier. I don't think anything I've really had come into my life thus far, I've actually had to audition for, with maybe
Oh,
the
yeah.
odd
Okay.
exception. I'm
Mm.
funny like that. I just seem to attract the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
And if it's meant for me, it will come. And
Mhm.
weirdly, when I audition for something, it just doesn't seem to go as well. So I haven't auditioned for a lot of work, and that includes singing and music. I've done some
Mhm.
auditions I've been successful for. And as part of my preparation for that, again, meditation,
Yeah.
I can be a little bit of a procrastinator and leave things to the last minute. And I
Okay.
don't recommend doing that. But I do like improv. And part of me, I think, is because I like more authentic performance rather
Mhm.
than perfect performance. Even though I'm a perfectionist, I know that sounds contradictory, but I prefer an authenticity and a perfection somehow within that. So I like to sort of come on stage and do it off the cuff rather than prepare for a long time beforehand. And
Got
this
it.
is why I'd rather get into the state of flow and meditate rather than just rehearse lines. And my music auditions were the same. My family and friends of my youth will tell you that. Even with some of my exam pieces as a young flautist, I didn't know until the day of my exam, and I would write it out on this scoring program, play it back a few times, and then play it for my exam. I tend to work like that, and it drives the people I work with crazy because it's easy to work with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I
that just
guess,
seems to work for me.
yeah.
But moving forward, you know, I don't know about the acting side of things with auditions. I can't say I like auditions very much. I don't think that brings out my best performance because
Yeah.
of the way I am as an artist. And
Mhm.
my sister is, interestingly enough, the same like that. We tend to just be better off the cuff. We don't like to feel pressured too much in advance. So I think the way that Say My Name unfolded was perfect for me because
Yeah.
it just came, and I
Yeah.
had,
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I had a choice, but I just said yes, and we did it, and it was a thing,
It was
and a great thing. But
this. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a bit
Go
of an
on. Go
odd
on.
AJ.
I get it. I get it. The one thing I loved about you is you go with the flow. Okay, what's going to happen? Let me see what is there. Rather than, okay, you're going to prepare for it and then something, the bomb comes up and then everything blasts. You don't go for that. Okay, let me see what the situation is, where I am at, and then you then take care of, okay, how should I move ahead now? So that's best part. That's how I also go on, because there's a lot of thing, this interviews that I used to do. I used to prepare a lot of things, and then something else comes up, like we started, this interview whole started. And then there's the small button, the record button was not popping up, and that created chaos. So I guess there's a lot of things involved, and this thing is really helpful the way you do it, because it keeps you in the present situation than an imaginary one. Then where you develop a world, and then you see, okay, I'll do this, and then I'll move ahead. Because once the step going starts going down, you start panicking, and that panic can create you to downgrade yourself.
Yes.
So I guess the way you're moving ahead, it's good, and I guess it worked really well for you. You don't have to audition, and the way the pitch happened for you for this film, Say My Name, was absolutely written, I can say, because it led to something very beautiful in your life, and it really is popping up like the way you wanted. Where you don't go and prepare something, where you approach towards it and see what the situation is. So great to know that. Now, I thought you were into auditions and all, so I came up with 4, 5, 6 questions.
No, I
Now,
saw that. I'm sorry.
no,
Um,
now I have
I'm
to go ahead with something else.
I know it's a big part of acting. I just feel
Yeah.
for me the audition thing. I don't think the audition thing in me will ever be a happy marriage. I think
Uh,
I'd just rather have it sprung on me in the last minute, and I'll be like, okay,
wow.
I'll say yes spontaneously, and
Yeah.
we'll see how it
We'll
goes.
see how it goes, because I guess
That's
that works for you.
not
That works for
realistic
you.
though, and people like my agent and other people don't love that. Sorry, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens, AJ, in future.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Sure. Now tell me, with this whole process of going through acting, performing, you may have like been into, where people giving you advice and telling you, okay, go ahead with this, let's see, and hey, try this, what do you think of this? So what is the best advice anyone has ever given you about acting or auditions? Let's put that apart, that's not your thing. But throughout this process of preparing for Say My Name, uh, what advice you received that was really helpful for you while preparing for this?
I think ultimately watching lots of masterclasses online and engaging in other learning since Say My Name, and even in a lot of my musical training, and having some really good mentors in my life of incredible humans who are just amazing at what they do. Fundamentally, it comes back to know thyself, know who you are first, and stay true to yourself as much as you can in the world that we're in, and somehow just trust the intuition and the guidance within you to make the right decisions. I think once I started making decisions that were more intuition based, my life changed for the better rather than overthinking things. And I think particularly for those of us in the performing arts, it's more important to listen to your intuition, which is where it's important to have meditation practice and a good healthy diet, whether that's food diet or what you're listening to and watching, and maintaining a healthy equilibrium for yourself in order to receive the right guidance within you to help direct you in the right direction. Because sometimes we have so much external noise, and sometimes it can sound good on the outside and it sounds like the right sort of advice, but it may not be the right advice for you. It may not be what is actually meant for you. So sometimes you have to take yourself away. And if you don't know yourself, that makes it really hard to know that then, to decipher what's me and what's the rest of the noise in the world. So know yourself, become really good at meditating and looking after your wellness, and listen to your intuition. And I think allow things to flow and not force them into being. And for me, that was a tricky one to learn, because I am a go-getter, and I like to be gung-ho on things sometimes when I feel really passionate about it. But that's where being in state of flow is really good, because it can help you step back from forcing it and just letting it fall into place as it should. So that doesn't mean being inactive, but it just means coming into it with the right energy and the right mindset, and being open to incredible possibilities. Life can be interesting like that. So
that's it. I think the one thing I like to know yourself, I guess that's the basic, that's where you start, and that leads to whatever else that you added after that. Because when you start knowing yourself, who you are, what you are, that's what leads to other things, other questions that pops up in your head after that, and you start solving. But I guess know yourself is the best advice I can see from this, because that's what lead you to become what you are and what you want to become. Once you start knowing yourself, you can start preparing to become what you are dreaming of. That's really great. Thank you for sharing this in detail. This was really helpful. Now, before we jump on to your challenge, but tell me about how is the masterclass thing that's going on with you with Reese Bremen, Gracia, and Steve Braun. Are you continuing the masterclasses still for your upcoming projects? What's the thing with acting masterclasses now?
So since Say My Name, actually before Say My Name, I used to watch a lot of their content online, as well as other acting
Videos
studios
and all.
and masterclasses. But I engaged in some of their actor summits and masterclass since then. And they've been really helpful. And I think just helpful in having a sense of community around me, and engaging with different actors and hearing different perspectives and journeys is all really helpful, because, I mean, really that's what acting is about, the human experience for the most part. I mean, now with AI, it's a bit more machines and robots, but for the and our interactions as humans with them. But certainly, it's about the human connection. So even just having that as part of the masterclass is great, and I've enjoyed that. I've also been doing other one-to-one coaching, and most recently I did a couple of sessions with a Shakespearean coach, and I'm looking to do more. It's not my style of acting. I'm sorry, Dame Judi Dench, incredible Shakespeare actress with an amazing memory for lines, but it's not my style of acting. But it is all helpful in my own development as well.
You're picking.
Yes. And I also like engaging with some other pre-recorded content and watching the incredible masters and mastresses, like Michael Caine is a phenomenal actor, and he came from very humble beginnings, And he's got some recorded content online. If for other actors out there, if you're interested, he's incredible to watch in his masterclass because he gets down to the nitty gritties and the nuts and the bolts of it. But his performances are always very authentic, and he's also an intuitive performer as well. I think even he met his wife somehow. He saw her on TV or on an ad or something, and just knew within his spirit that she was the right one. And
Okay.
yeah, and
Whoa.
they've been together for
Well,
years. See,
that's
intuition.
yeah, yeah. You have intuition. That's the second thing that you added. Uh,
Yes.
yep, yep, yep.
So
Great,
yeah,
great.
I've had a combination of things, and I think, as I said, I've done like Alexander technique with my music, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my opera training and breath work and posture and dancing. It all interrelates with acting as well. It's all part
Yeah,
of the performance, body movements,
yeah. It's
etc.
true.
Breath
It's
work.
true.
Yep. So for me, it's an unconventional journey, but
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah.
I don't
Uh,
think anyone's journey is conventional, really, is it? I
yeah.
think everyone's path to success is unique, and that's what
You
makes it exciting.
Good, good. So now tell me about your work-life balance. Meditation, I guess, is the important thing for you, where you do breath work, and I guess meditation overall is helping you out to do a lot of things. So how it got started, first of all, and tell me about this technique that you perform. I guess it's Alexander something you told me about. Uh, how this practice overall of meditation is helping you out, why you chose to meditate, first of all, why you chose to do the breath work, why this whole thing came into, and how has it changed you?
So many years ago, I actually went through a very traumatic few life experiences and actually went
Right.
through some a major health crisis and
Mhm.
experienced some of my own mental health with anxiety and depression for some time. And as a result of that, I went on this self-discovery journey and found meditation. Initially, I didn't really believe in its benefits.
Mhm.
I heard a lot of hype around it and thought it was woo-woo.
Yeah.
and I was open-minded and started learning more about how it affects the brain,
Good.
and it has changed my life. And there's many different types of meditation, and there's not one approach. I think that's the right
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
And I think if you have experienced severe trauma, there's certainly ways around how you would approach it. You need to make sure you're safe.
Mhm.
Um, it's not just simply about emptying the mind and thinking about nothing. There's a lot more involved, especially when you start navigating into transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
David Lynch, the famous director, practices and swears by a transcendental meditation. And he's actually our editor, Agnes Peel
Okay.
McGregor, in our film. She's
Okay.
mentored, has been mentored by David Lynch, and she, I believe,
Wow.
practices this too. So if you are stumped on an idea, meditation, affirmations, mantra, all of
Mhm.
that can help unblock blockages within your mind and
Yeah.
open up the channels of inspiration to flow within you to receive answers, intuition, and help you navigate your way through problems, to receive more inspiration as to your artistry, music, film, characters, whatever it is, writing. I swear by it too, and there is evidence to support this. And I think coming from more of a medical background, well, at some point in my life, having evidence to support it is important.
Yeah.
But I've seen this change my life profoundly as well, and I would highly recommend other actors and artists to certainly look into it, because it could really enhance your craft and take it to a whole new level just by being open to explore the mind and meditative practice.
Yeah.
Alexander technique looks into posture and breath work and being present. So it ties in with mindfulness as well, which again, as an actor, is important, being present in
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah. Being present. Got it. All right. Thank you for sharing why you got into this. Uh, there was a lot of traumatic experiences, and I guess that's what led you to, okay, calm down. This is the one thing that's going to keep you out of all these things. And I guess you practice daily, and now you are very good at it. This is something that we also recommend to every artist to use and to practice this process and meditation. I guess, is there anything, something big, some big challenge that you faced in your career, and some big setbacks that you went through? Can you share a light on that and how you overcame it? Is there any experience or incident that you can share?
Um, Probably not significant at this stage. I think for me, more just working through my surgeries and health has been a bit of a
Okay.
setback in the last year.
Yeah.
But there probably really hasn't been any other setbacks. I think
Nothing.
maybe even dating back to childhood, just not having access and not
Yeah.
having the right, maybe the people around me to support and nurture that early on was certainly a downside, and that's why it's taken me a while to get into it later in life. But
Got it.
again, I do believe that life can take you on other journeys of development that perhaps lead you to a better way of going about it.
Yeah.
So, but that's my perspective too. Not everyone always sees that. I like to find ways of reclaiming the downsides of the past and then using it for something good in the future.
Yeah.
It's kind of like recycling, really, in a way. And sometimes you can't always recycle it; you do have to chuck it out. But there might be a way forward that you can look at something in a new light and go, actually, that served me in this instance really well, and now I can use it here like this. It sucked at
Yeah.
the time; it felt terrible, and I would never want to go back through that again. It was what it was, but you've got to move forward and find a way to make it work for you. And so yeah, I think for me that was a setback early in life, but it's now about reclaiming that and using that moving forward in a way that helps me and hopefully some others as well that I keep meeting along the way. And I think it's already
Yeah.
having impact actually in people that I know in a positive way, which is exciting to see. So it's not just me reaping benefits, it's others as well. And that's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Quinn. First of all, for telling everything about you, how you started, what you went through, and how was your childhood, how you created a world and a new world for you now in the acting, where you will be encountering a lot of new things and preparing for a lot of new stuff. So from someone, you are someone who went for it. You never had an access for anything, where you had a very normal childhood, playing with the trees, and climbing trees and playing with your siblings, and in the garden, in the playing with books, enjoying books, watching films, enacting. That was your childhood. Through
And
that.
growing watermelons. Sorry, I grew
Oh,
watermelons,
wow.
and I
that's
had
that's good. Yeah.
veggie patch, and they were some of the biggest melons you've ever seen. We used to have to put them in. They're the only melons I can boast about, I'm afraid. But
Oh.
um,
Okay.
we used to put them in the old prams, the old
Mm.
prams that you'd push your dolls in, and then wheel them
Mm.
inside and cut them up. And it was very refreshing during summer. But yes, that was a big part of my childhood.
That was,
So
I guess, yeah. Yeah, go on.
I jumped in on your question, AJ. I'm sorry. I just had to mention
No, no, I
that.
was leading to something. But something that, thank you for sharing that. Even the watermelons are involved in your story. And bigger part of your life is your childhood is one thing, I guess, made you who you are, because I guess not having access and fighting for it, even at a period where you thought, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm still going to fight, and I'm still going to make sure that I reach somewhere, because I guess this is me. You know very earlier that who you are and what you are, because you were connected with your inner self at very early age. You were a professional singer, and this film, Say My Name, literally changed your world upside down, because this is going to lead you to something very new, very new opportunities, very new connection in this world. And I'm really happy that this is something that turned out in your way, because you are someone who's not good at auditions, who's not good at preparing something and then making sure that this will work out for me. You are someone, okay, if this goes my way, then I'm going to make sure I put out my 120%, and I'm going to make sure that this wins a lot of awards, and it did win. So you are a fighter. You are someone who even went through a lot of traumas, a lot of things, but you came out, and you came out real good. You fight really hard with whatever comes in your way. And someone like you, who been through all of this, what advice you'd like to give to, who's starting out just like you? No idea where they if they are going to reach, but there's only one thing which we call is belief. So what advice you'd like to give to those people who are starting their journey?
Well, firstly, make sure that it's something you want to do and make sure that it's true to you. And don't listen to anybody. Don't let anybody tell you that it's a stupid idea or a silly thing to do with your life. I think if that's what you feel inspired to do, life will show you a way somehow. It may be a while down the track, and it might mean you have to do other things in the meantime, but don't give up. Keep believing in yourself. Throw yourself into opportunity, and also look at developing opportunity yourself. I think there's something to be said about that. Is not just always waiting for opportunity. Sometimes it's also about cultivating it, because especially for me, it's nice to think that you can give back in other ways through making other opportunity for others too, whilst you make it for yourself. There's something special in that. And as someone said to me yesterday, don't always wait for the sunshine. Sometimes you have to learn to dance in the rain. Yeah. And that's true. You've got to make your own joy wherever you are and grow wherever you're planted. And I mean, sometimes you can, if you want to move yourself somewhere else because it just never stops raining, well, that's okay too. But ultimately, don't listen to any of the naysayers. Even your own mental state, sometimes you can put yourself off with doubts. I know I still do some days, which is where the meditation's important. I think self-doubt's a natural thing as a human. We all experience it. That's normal. And don't be too hard on yourself. And most of all, love the journey. Find ways to celebrate it, and find good people around you to celebrate it with too. And it's not always easy, but they are out there. Yeah. And just enjoy it and enjoy life, and don't force anything. Learn from some of my own lessons. Don't force it. Just let it flow.
Let it flow. Be there. Don't listen to the naysayers. Just go for it. I guess that's what I learned from your journey and the way you now present yourself to this world. And it's going to be much bigger in coming years with the way you prepare yourself for your music, your composition, your acting, your filmmaking journey. It's going to be really good for you in coming time, Quinn. Thank you for sharing everything that you did. Even that last moment you told me about the watermelons, that was really good. It was, I guess, something that really popped in your head, and you didn't want to, hey, I have to mention that one.
Okay. Yeah. That was special melons.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed working with you. Yeah. That's I really enjoyed this time. We completed, I guess, over an hour, and it was really awesome. I didn't even realize we went this far. This is happening with me. So thank you so much for being here. Please share your social media handles so people can connect with you. What is the name of the handles? Please share website, anything.
Certainly. So again, thank you for having me on, Ajay, for your interview. I appreciate this very much. My website is www.thequinn.art, and Instagram is the_Quinn, and Facebook is under Quinn Ellis at the moment until I have it changed as just Quinn, which is what I go by. But if you type in Quinn Ellis, you will find me on there. And yes, feel free to reach out if you want someone to connect with in film or music. I'm always open to conversation and other connections. So yes.
What's your email where people can reach out to you?
Email is, I've got my agent, which so acting and things can go through her. I think her email is something like Gina. Hang on.
Okay. You text me later. So to everyone, whatever she said will be mentioned.
Just quickly, my personal one is studio@thequinn.art, and then my agent.
Got it. So to everyone, whatever she mentioned will be there in the description of this episode, and it will be mentioned here if it's possible for me, but it will be there in the description. So make sure you check the description of this episode, and there's a lot of links to the stories that we do in a lot of different genres, including action, adventure, romance, crime, mystery, thriller, Indian mythology, A lot of things there's there. Checks, make sure you go and check and listen to those also. I am Ajay Tambe, the host and producer of this show, and this was interview with actress, singer, composer, filmmaker Quinn. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Now I'm signing off.